Dagda Yíomh agus tá fáilte romh is mis an scéala beag. Hello and you're welcome to our Patreon Insider. We are starting off the month as ever with a brand new story for over on the patreon.com/Dagda. And as I'd like to do, I'd like to take a few minutes and talk about the inside view, the inspiration for the story. Where does it come from? And what are little kind of things that, well, I include in the story that tickle my entertainment and that maybe you didn't know. So the story we have this month is called Creating Security. And I've been doing a lot of work recently going back through the Cosmag Tura, which is the second battle of Moytura, which is the larger tracts from the Laragabala Éireann of the Book of the Taking of Ireland, which is Ireland's kind of ancient mythology and history and background information. So during this second battle of Moytura, it's a very large conflict between the tribe of the Tuatha Danann and their ancient nemesis and the oppressors of their ancestors, the Fomorians. So there's a whole host to go along. I teach classes on it over at the Irish Pagan School. There's a lot of information there. But the segment that I was looking at was this reference to the three gods of skill. So that's Gwivnu the smith, Krejna the brazier or the fine metal worker, and Luc the wright or the woodworker. So in the run up to the second battle of Moytura, Lu, who has become the king, asked them what they're going to do. What's the task that they're going to bring forward? What offerings of skill and service are they going to do in the war effort? And Gwivnu's like, well, I'm going to make every blade that we could need. And, if our troop are stuck in battle for 7 years, they will never run out of swords or spears. Look, the right is like, I will make the shafts for all of the spears. I will make all of the shields. I'll make them all myself to make sure that our men will always have, our warriors will always have what they need. And then Krejna is like, I will make all of the shield bosses, I will make the rivets, and I will make the rims for the shields so that, everything will come together, stay fast, and, we will have the weapons that we need. So the story kind of goes on. And the great thing about it is that the gods of skill deliver on their promise. It's not just they talk a big game, they straight up deliver. So during the second battle of Moytura, the Fomorians are smashing shields and breaking weapons with the Tuatha Danann every single day. But every single morning, the Tuatha Danann come back with new swords, new shields, new spears, all sharpened. And it begins to grind on them. It begins to kind of tell in the conflict this superior skill, this superior kind of technology that the Tuatha Danann have. So it does lead to another betrayal, unfortunately. Ruadon, the son of Bress, the half-Amorian previous king of the Tuatha Danann, infiltrates the camp of the gods of skill, and he kind of goes to each of three of them and he kind of requests parts from them. So he gets the spearhead from Gwivnu, he gets the spear shaft from Lukta, and he gets the rivets from Krejna. He then says that he goes to Kron, who is the weapon sharpener, and she assembles the spear from him. He then takes the spear and tries to kill Gwivnu with it. Doesn't go well for Ruadon. Long story short, Bridget has to invent keening for the loss of her child, because Gwivnu, having been stabbed with the spear, pulls it out of himself and impales Ruadon, like runs him through with it. So that's the kind of the parts of the lore that I'm looking at, and the story is kind of based around that. So if you have the main battlefields on the plains of Moytura, and at the end of the day, the warriors depart. But at the start of the next day, they have new weapons. Foregoing some kind of mystical, magical process, then the workshop of the three gods of skill is going to have to be right close to the battlefield, the plain of pillars, or the plains of Moytura as we know it. So taking those pieces of information, that's where our story is coming from. It's an exploration about, how would you set up the camp? What would be involved there? But as I am a Dagda Bard, it's my view of Dagda's involvement. Now, again, there's no reference in the specific lore about a workshop near the plains of Moytura. So I am taking kind of fiction license in regards to the writing of that. There's also no mention of the Dagda in regards to setting up any workshop, because there's no mention of any workshop. But we do know that the Dagda, on the run-up to the war, before Brest was toppled, he was actually digging the trench works or the earthworks at Rathbresh, which is the hill of Tara. So those are the kind of pieces of information that I've kind of brought together to explore this idea of security, this idea of like service to one's community, following through on what you promised to do. The gods of skill promising that they will provide everything their Tua needs to face the battle, and then delivering on it. Dagda making sure that the community kind of carries on and feels the security that's involved with it. And so that is kind of the inspiration for the story. I do mention Cron, and it's brilliant to have records in the Irish lore of female kind of crafts people as well. So yeah, it was great to kind of have her come across in the character. And just as I was writing the story, I didn't plan to have her in there, but it was almost like, no, she turns up in the story to have her appearance in what I write. But I'm really grateful. I am, as ever, really, really grateful to be able to be taking the time to write these stories, to explore this lore, and to kind of maybe bring it to a different perspective or bring some kind of shared insight to it in my Patreon. So, as ever, Gaurav Mila Mahagas, thank you very, very much to all of my patrons for your support. I'm humbled and honored to be doing this for you. And if this is something that you're seeing in the YouTube world, head over to patreon.com/Dagda, where there are over 50 stories and a new one every month for just $5. And I also do audio recordings of the stories with over 40 audio recordings and a new one every month for $10. So if that's something you're interested in, exploring Irish lore through my investigations and my style in writing and audio, please do check it out. And as ever, look after yourself. You are a unique collection of experiences. There is only ever one of you in existence, and you're fantastic for everything that you are. So from me to you, take care and slán. Goodbye.